Welcome, Professor Yunus.
Hello, how are you?
Fine. Thank you so much for coming to speak to us today. I think that Sharia, our professor, who you know very well, will start off the session.
Very good. Thank you, Sharia.
Thank you very much, Professor Yunus, for joining our today's session. We are waiting for all others to join us.
No problem. Take your time.
Thank you.
The fact that I got connected, that's a good news, because sometimes it's a glitch.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our today's webinar. While we wait for others to join us, could you please mention your location in the chat box? I mean, which country you are from?
We have people who are joining from all around the world.
I see. Okay.
So, yeah, we thought it would be interesting just to see how far afield.
That's right. Good to know.
So I suppose one constant from the last few years of doing online events is the concern about technology working.
I know. you always worry, is it going to work?
Yeah, the number of times that there have been unusual issues, it's quite amazing.
Absolutely. But it's got very popular thing. This is how whole world is moving, having this technological solution to get in touch with each other.
Yeah, it's interesting. From when the World Wide Web started, we all talked about being connected.
That's
frankly,
right.
It took Zoom and WebEx and Teams to actually complete that process, I think.
Right. And it took COVID-19 for Zoom to come.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Probably one
joining can sound a click.
Yes, I can hear the sound of text. Yes. All right, I think we can start. Yes. Right.
Sure. Okay. From my side, I'm okay.
Great. Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shahriar Akhtar. I am the Associate Dean of Research at the Faculty of Business and Law at the University of Wollongong, Australia. On behalf of the university, I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which the University of Wollongong is situated. We pay our respect to Aboriginal elders, past, present, and emerging, who are knowledge holders and teachers. We acknowledge their continual spiritual and cultural connection to country. Dear colleagues and distinguished participants here in Australia and overseas, it's my great pleasure to introduce our today's panel, Professor Muhammad Yunus, founder of the Grameen Bank and Nobel Peace Laureate 2006, and Professor Colin Peaker, Executive Dean, Faculty of Business and Law, University of Wollongong, Australia. This session is going to be recorded. The format will be 30 minutes Q&A, and unfortunately, due to time constraints, we are not going to have any additional questions, but I trust our questions will satisfy most of your queries. Now, I would like to request Professor Peaker to formally start the session.
Thank you very much. First of all, Professor Yunus, thank you so much for joining us and allowing us the opportunity to hear from you on some absolutely critical issues. Before I ask you a few questions, though, to start it off, I thought I would introduce you briefly and talk about some of your accomplishments. Nobel Laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus is the founder of Grameen Bank, pioneering the concept of microcredit in social business, founding more than 50 social business companies in Bangladesh. For his constant innovation and enterprise, Fortune magazine named Professor Yunus in March 2012 as one of the greatest entrepreneurs of our time. At the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2020, Professor Yunus was conferred with the Olympic Laurel Award for his extensive work in sports for development, bringing the concept of social business to the sports world. In 2006, Professor Yunus and Grameen Bank were jointly awarded Nobel Prizes, the Nobel Peace Prize, for his effort to alleviate poverty and foster economic and social development. Professor Muhammad Yunus is the recipient of 63 honorary degrees from universities across 26 countries. He has received 143 awards from 33 countries, including state honors from 10 countries. He is one of only 7 individuals to receive the Nobel Peace Prize, the United States Presidential Medal of Freedom, and the United States Congressional Gold Medal. He's appeared on the cover of Time magazine, Newsweek, and Forbes magazine. In his work, Professor Yunus has emphasized that there should be no going back to the old ways of thinking and doing. He proposes to create new roads to go to a new destination by creating a world of 3 zeros: zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration for ending poverty once and for all, and zero unemployment by unleashing entrepreneurship in everyone. It's my great honor to be able to ask Professor Yunus a few questions to tease out some of his great thinking on these subjects. Professor Yunus, in the 1970s, you invented microcredit because low-income people could not access traditional credit. What was your vision when you started this program? And in your view, what has been achieved till now?
Thank you, Professor Picker. It's wonderful to be with you and Shahriar, Dean Shahriar. It's a great occasion to have a chat with you on the things that I do and trying to share with you. And your question takes me back way about 45 years or so, mid-70s. I was not planning anything to start a microcredit or a Grameen Bank or anything like that. It was a terrible circumstances, country going through famine, people dying, extreme poverty all over the country. And loan sharks were having a heyday, taking advantage of people who needed tiny little money for survival. And in the process, they take over everything the other person has. So my immediate attention was to see if I can protect a few, maybe 5, maybe 10 victims of loan sharks in the village next door to the university campus. University was surrounded by villages, so I was very happy that I could go in the village and be with them and see if I can be of some use to them. So one of the use that I was trying to see if I can protect some victims of loan sharks. And I was wondering how I can do that. One simple idea came to my mind. Why don't I lend the money? Loan sharks are lending money, that's why they are attracted to them. If I lend the money, they will be attracted to me and I give them better option. I will not take over anything they have. All I want is get my money back, whatever time it needs. I'm not in a hurry, I'm not in a rush. So that's the idea. It was just a simple action of an individual to be protected from a victimization. Not a grand idea about addressing poverty or addressing the issue, bigger issues behind it. So that's how it began, and I started lending money, and people loved that, and I started expanding it. I was very happy that people liked it. People are happy with what I do, and that makes me happy that I can do something to be useful to them. And that led to, but one thing led to another. And soon I started looking at the banks. Why don't they do it? Am I supposed to be doing it? It's their job to lend money to people, but they don't lend money to the poor people. So I started raising a big question, why banks don't lend money to poor people. The answer the bankers gave that they are not creditworthy. So I turned around that question. I said, should you blame people for not being able to take money from you, or people should be blaming you for not being able to give them the money? Is it a question of not being creditworthy, or is it a question of not being people-worthy? You are not people-worthy. So you have to redesign yourself rather than accuse the people. I said, banking is done in a very funny way. Banks are supposed to lend money to poor people. but they do it just opposite. They lend money to the rich people. The more money you have, the more money you get. I said, that's a very funny way of interpreting banking system. You should be redesigning yourself, focusing on the people who don't have money. That will be your starting point. So I started raising question after questions and attacking the banking system. I said, bank, go to the men, and they ignored the women. So we created a bank called Grameen Bank, doing exactly the opposite, lending money to women. Bank go to men, we go to women. Bank go to city center, we go to remote village. So we are kind of countering everything that they do in a kind of demonstration that it can be done. There's nothing wrong with the people. Simply, it's a policy they have made it. So I raised the whole question of poverty. I said, poverty is not created by poor people. Poverty is created by the system. System locked all the door for them. So they are trapped. And I would say that they are like a bonsai tree. You take the seed of a tall tree, put it in a flower pot. It doesn't grow very much, but it's a beautiful, cute replica of the tree that you see in the forest. I said, there's nothing wrong with the seed. Poor people are bonsai people. There's nothing wrong with their seed. They're as good human being as anybody else. Simply, system doesn't give enough space to grow as tall as everybody else. So this is how one thing led to another, and many issues came. We got involved with many actions with the poor people, like creating social businesses, saying that businesses are designed in the wrong way. Only this business you have is a profit maximizing business. There should be another kind of business to solve problem. And that's the business we call social business, non-dividend business to solve human problem. So that's a series of things that came after. Thank you.
It's amazing from just a small idea, just looking to help some people in your neighborhood,
Right.
that this whole world of innovation took place. That's just amazing. Indeed, microcredits from your bank and other microcredit ones have often been given mostly to women. And in fact, the figure I've seen is 97%.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the connection between poverty reduction and providing economic support to women?
Our attention to women issue came because of my opposition to banking system. I raised the question that banks are lending money only to men. They don't lend money to women. Even she's a rich woman. It's not a question of poor or rich. It's a question of simply being women. So I said, you're designed it the wrong way. 99% of your loan go to men. Only 1% of the loan goes to women, and that's a rich woman. That's very unfair, because they are 50-50 people. So they try to defend themselves, saying women don't come to them and so on and so forth. So I said, no, this is not a question of people don't come to you. So your rules are so anti-woman that you don't let them come in. If a woman brings a business proposal and she's a rich woman, you always ask the woman, have you discussed it with the husband? If she says, yes, I have discussed it with the husband. And you'll always ask a woman that, why didn't you bring him along so that we can discuss this proposal? I said, has it ever happened that a man brings a proposal and you say, have you discussed it with your wife? And why didn't you bring your wife along so that we can discuss? I said, that's what the wrong thing happens. You treat people in a different way. So while I'm arguing at them, I wanted to make sure people do not accuse me of being focused on men. So I made a decision that 50% of the borrowers of Grameen Bank should be women. So that's the kind of policy decision. It's not something that we thought it will help the poor, poverty, or anything. Simply addressing the poor people, addressing the poor women. It was extremely difficult task because the traditions and the religion and everything is against it. For women to take money and have independent businesses and so on. So we aroused a lot of hatred from the traditional religious people and so on. But we stayed firm on our position. We continued. People have to suffer. Women suffered. They are thrown out of the village because they're taking money from Grameen Bank. They were not deterred, and we were not kind of escaped from that. We continued to focus on that. And we had a very difficult situation of doing that, but we didn't mind that. Where difficulty, slowness came in, but still we thought we should have it 50%. By the time we reached finally 50%, we are celebrating. Finally, we made it. Everybody said cannot be done. We have done it. Then after that, we started noticing that money going to the family through women brought so much more benefit to the family. Same amount of money going to the family through men. Then we kept asking ourselves, why should we give the loan to men? Because the result through the women is so much better, because she takes care of the children, she takes care of the household, she wants to improve the house situation and so on. She is very protective and she is very enterprising, unlike men who is casual, who wants to focus on himself rather than the family. So it took the next decision, bold decision. Let's continue with the focusing on women. As a result, we came to 97%. We could have done it 100%, but we thought then people will not know what is the difference between men and women. So we said, okay, we stop at 97%. Ever since it remained at 97%. So it's the impact that you create on the women. And when you energize the women in the family, suddenly the entire half of the family get active. So that's again helps tremendously of changing the life of the poor people and so on. I would say women is a big fighter against poverty. So that's something we discovered later on, but that's not the starting point. Thank you.
Thanks. It's interesting that the starting point in both cases, the creation of microcredit and then also the focus on women, didn't start off in the way that it ended in such a successful way, which I think for our students who are listening, our colleagues, is a very important lesson about how things change and move beyond what your expectations are. Just before I ask the third question, I just wanted to thank you that when you had met with Professor Akhtar with Sharia, you sent back some books to us, and I wanted to thank you. These are signed copies of your book, A World of Three Zeros, and they had pride of place in my office. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And in fact, I want to ask about your book, A World of Three Zeros. You proposed a world of zero net carbon emission, zero wealth concentration, and ending poverty with entrepreneurship. Can you elaborate perhaps on why at this time you've come to this approach of the 3 zeros?
It's very simple, because we are all kind of overwhelmed with the enormous amount of problem we have created for ourselves. And we are focusing on something, not everything else. But we're focusing on one aspect of it. That's global warming. We have been got lots of high-level meetings, presidents, prime ministers assembling in COP25, COP26, next COP27, and so on. So it continues to go in that direction about the global warming. And complaint that I make about global warming, I says this is not good enough. The initiative that we are taking. In COP26, scientists have reported that we don't have much time left before we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius. It may be 2 decades, it may be 3 decades. That's about it before we reach 1.5 degrees Celsius. And 1.5 degrees Celsius is the kind of a point of no return. After you get there, there's no way we can come back. This is a terrifying thing that once you get there, only way forward is to move on and destroy yourself. So I keep repeating, saying that we are in a suicidal path. Whatever we have done led us to the suicidal path. And it's a reason for that is that we have designed the world in the wrong way, designed the economic system in the wrong way. Our conceptual framework is wrong. And that's why we created all this problem. Now we are trying to repair it. I said, repair work will not help because the machine will continue to produce the same result more and more, even if you repair, because machine is the same. It doesn't know how to behave different way. So we have to change the machine itself. It's to reverse the machine, like we did the reversing of the banking system to work for the poor people. If you try to do it to the conventional banks, it will be impossible. They will be asking for collateral. They will be asking for many other things, which poor people cannot satisfy. They will never be able to do the banking with them. But we reverse everything. And as a result, it's happened. I said, that's what it should be, the global warming. 2 other things which misses the attention, and I said it's very important. One is extreme wealth concentration, that this machine, called the economic engine that we built, is built with this, that's a single mission, a single objective. It continues to suck up all the wealth from the bottom where the wealth is generated, and then push it to the top in the hands of few people. So you have become extremely uneven wealth-wise. A handful of people owning 95%, 97%, 98% of the wealth of the world. And the remaining people, the real bulk of the population of the world, has to satisfy with themselves with 2%, 5% of the global world. And it's getting worse every day. It's not that once it happens, it stays there. It's not like that. Tomorrow it will be worse because the machine is pumping up all the wealth to the top. I said, this is a ticking time bomb. It will explode the whole world, destroy the whole world, because it cannot go on an unlimited way. People will be rebelling, people will be kind of attacking everything because they have no wealth, they're in a terrible situation, and so on. Look at the COVID-19. It puts millions of people back into poverty where they want to just get out of the poverty line. And then came the Ukrainian war. Again, massive number of people get hit by the poverty situation because of the inflation, because of the oil shortage, fuel shortage, and everything else that happened, dislocation of world trade, or everything. The sufferer are the poor people. Big guys are making big money. Even in all this COVID, they made trillions of dollars extra wealth and so on. So they will do the same thing during the Ukrainian war too. It is the bulk of the people who don't have the engine in their favor will be losing out in the whole thing. So that's another thing that we have to fight. Other one is artificial intelligence coming in a big way. It will remove people from the work because machine will do better work than human being. And the net result will be human being will become useless in the planet, and they will become garbage on this planet. I said, that's not how we want to use our technology. So these are the three issues, mega issues, which we must overcome right now. In order to do that, we have to redesign the entire economic engine. And in the process, we have to create a new civilization. This civilization is built on money making. Only thing we know how to maximize profit. We became, in the process, we became money making robots. So we are not human being anymore. So what I'm suggesting, we have to rediscover ourselves as a human being and create a new civilization. Before this current civilization, the ship, what is known as civilization, is sinking, and before it drowns us, we have to move out of this ship and move into a new ship called new civilization. And that civilization will be characterized by creating a civilization based on human values of sharing and caring, about peace with everybody. And that's the kind of world I define as a world of 3 zeros. 0 global warming, 0 wealth concentration, and 0 unemployment. And that's the character, that's the features which will make us the basis on which the new civilization will be built. So it's nothing less than creating a new civilization will help us. That's the point I try to make.
So this new civilization, it's quite a radical notion, and I absolutely every point that you made in to my previous question about what's going on around us at this point absolutely cries out for new thinking and definitely trying new ideas. The new civilization that you're referring to, could you elaborate on that a little bit? Are you thinking that this would start off small, or do you think this takes wholesale change, global, institutional? Perhaps you could elaborate just a little bit on that.
Yeah, I'll try. It's all about the way we design the present economic system. Present economic system starts with the interpretation of what the human being is all about. So they define a human being in their own way. And that's a core of the problem that we have built around it because of the wrong definition of human being. Conventional economics define human being as someone who is driven by self-interest. And that's the only definition you can get. So they see human being as a selfish being. The only thing they do is for themselves, for each individual. It's very individualistic, focused on himself or herself. I said that's very damaging for human beings and for the system that we built. because the real human being, the way I would see, I would like to interpret, is made up of two such drives. One is driven by self-interest. I will keep it there. Some part of it, yes, we have that selfishness in us. And another part, which is missing in the conventional economics, is driven by collective interest. Human beings are also driven by collective interest. We want to see something happening together. We have done it. We have solved the problem of something. There is this problem of poverty, or is a problem of water, problem of housing. We do things in a collective way, defend ourselves. We have solved the problem of healthcare and so on, as a collective issue. So that collectiveness has disappeared from the banking, from the economic system. If you want to do some collective solution, you always say, go to the government. Government is the one who should be doing that. I said, no, it's not the government responsibility. Every single human being has the urge inside of him or her to do something in addressing do things better in the neighborhood, in the country, in a global way. So it's a potent thing inside every human being. It's part of human being. So you should see human being in two aspects: self-interest and the collective interest. Self-interest, economist has built a beautiful structure, profit maximizing structure, and you go and make money and continue to more money, and the more money you make, more successful you are, etc., etc. So the system is built that way. I said, no, we also have to have another business to solve problem, because we want to do collective, serve our collective interest. And that new business I'm calling a social business, because it's a kind of solving everybody else's problem. By definition, I say it's a non-dividend company to solve human problems without any interest in making money. Only thing I'm taking out is making money part of it. I don't want to make money. I focus on solving problems. And that's a social business. So we created a lot of social business to demonstrate, and people like those businesses and see how easy it is to solve people's problem. It's a problem of environment, problem of renewable energy, problem of waste management, problem of healthcare, you name it. You can design it as a social business, not to make money, to solve problem. During pandemic, I was disgusted with the vaccine policy that the world is following. I was saying that vaccine should not have any patent right. It should be allowed to be produced everywhere in the world. But a handful of countries, maybe 10 countries or so, oppose that. Remaining countries of the world have supported that. But we needed a unanimous decision at WTO. We could not get that. As a result, big pharma companies, huge profit, billions and billions of dollars of profit, where people died. I said profit became more important in this society, in this world, than the life of human being, because you promoted this profit maximizing thing and you protected that profit maximizing thing. Seeing that with lots of pain, I thought this is a good occasion to create a social business pharmaceutical company. It's a company not to make money, but to solve problems. That social business pharmaceutical company will be producing vaccines, medicines, everything, not to have maximum profit, but to solve the problem of healthcare. And the medicines are always unnecessarily high priced because companies want to make big money. So we want to produce it in a way that we can sell it in a cost-effective way and so on. So this is the direction. What we did in the process, when we addressed that, then we had to create a new system of social business and the money-making business. These are options. Nobody is forcing you to do anything. Whether you want to pick this or you want to pick this, it's up to you. If you have drive for social business, you'll be doing social business. Government will not force you to do that. It's your choice whether you want to do that. And my feeling is, since it is inherent in human being, they will do it. And that's what I see. People are engaging in social businesses around the world and so on. So this is the basis on which we build a new civilization. One is just reintroduce our concept of human being, redefine it, and build the institution for that. And I said that the old civilization or the old economics ask people to get a job. It's a job-oriented economy. I said that's an entirely wrong idea. Human beings are not born to serve another human being. That's a slavery. We condemned it long before, but we still glorify the job. Job is a niche, is a version of slavery. You take orders for somebody else. I said human beings are born with unlimited creative capacity. That creativity is suddenly surrendered the moment you take a job, because job is driven by orders and instructions, not your creative capacity. So you become bounded by those directions and instructions and so on. That you want to unbound yourself. So we become, human beings are natural entrepreneurs. I said we should be preparing ourselves as entrepreneurs. University should be preparing young people to become entrepreneur, not job seeker. Today, we are so focused on making them job seeker. The more people from your university, from my university get job, we get very happy that as soon as they come out, they get a job, as if that's the purpose of the university. That should not be the purpose of the university. Purpose of the university should discover young people to what their worth is, what their value is as a human being, as entrepreneurs, as problem solver, as human beings, always been a problem solver for the whole world. That's the direction. So that's another one. We focus on entrepreneurship, making sure that we do that. The social business, entrepreneurship, and these are the two elements which will transform the entire economic system that we are looking forward. In the process, we create banking system, which is the vehicle by which we create the wealth concentration. Wealth concentration comes because banking, basic banking principle is the more you have, the more you get. And as a result, you blow up yourself, move very fast on the top. It's like a magnet. The big magnet you attract a bigger magnet and continue to move up. If you don't have any magnet, you stay where you are. So that's the reversal of the thing. We want to redesign the system so that the wealth comes to the people rather than wealth run away from people. And how do we do that? Entrepreneurship is one door that we want to do that, and redesign the banking system. Bulk of the banking system should be social business banking system. It's not geared to make money for themselves, for their shareholders. It's geared to solve the problem of the people, like the way we did through Grameen Bank. Grameen Bank is not a profit-making company for me. It's a company to solve the problem of the poor people. That's why it drawn attention, because it solved many problems that we thought unsolvable, and it is unsolvable through the conventional banking. So we created an alternative banking which fits into the needs of the poor people. So that's how we see it's possible. That's the basis of the new civilization, of new structure of the economy.
So there's very much that common theme of the working towards the social good, the social business, and of course the role of universities, and in particular business schools, in pursuing that. And as you know, one of the focus at the moment is on the SDGs, on the Sustainable Development Goals. Yeah. So I wonder, do you think that the focus of the universities and business schools in particular around the world, committing to the SDGs to change the world, do you think that is it a significant step in the right direction, or would you suggest it's that plus other?
I put it this way, the 17 goals, SDGs, if you look at the list, not as a goal, as a kind of your performance card, world's performance card. And the world performance card is, these are the problems you have created, these 17 problems you have created. So you just look at it in a kind of thing, terrible things you have done to ourselves. It's a good list of all the problems we created. And we list them and we say, let's try to solve it. That's what became known as SDG, because we have to solve it. Because we are the creator of all these problems. Not a single one is created by God. It's created by human being, exercising all the ideas, all the policies, all the institutions that we have built around us. So here, no matter how you try to do that, it's a repair job. You create the problem, you're not stopping creating. The machine is still churning out all the problems that you have on the 17 list of the 17. You are going there to reduce it. It's called reduction, because you are trying to tinkering with it, give it some kind of a ointment on top of it so that you don't feel bad about it. You may succeed a little bit, you may not succeed a little bit, but the machine keeps adding to it. Machine didn't stop. So I'm saying that unless you stop the machine, you will continue to have these problems. So repair work will not help us anywhere. And by the time you go anywhere to repair job, we'll be over. We'll be finished on this. We are the most endangered species on this planet right now because of all these problems we created. And we are talking about 3 of the mega problems, but there are 17 recognized by the United Nations. And there are many more beyond the 17 because we created all these problems. So as this is good to draw attention to the problems that we have created, but repair job is not going to solve problems. You have to go to the fundamentals. We have to go who created these problems. How do you redesign the system so that it doesn't create these problems anymore? That's the critical. It has to be stopped. It has to be brought to zero. It's not a question of reducing it. It's a question of bringing it to zero and creating a new system, which will not add any further. Even you can bring it to zero by some absurd way, efforts and so on, you can make it. But if you don't stop the machine and reverse it, it will continue to do it again. That's the problem.
Thank you. So you've been an educator and an activist for over 40 years. So you've seen education, in particular business schools and economics and finance. You've seen the changes over those years, and you've made these very bold proposals, and you've made tremendous change through microcredit and so on. But as you look forward, based on the last 40 years, is there any advice that you would give us as educators in the fields of business and social development and social justice too, because it's really also about social justice? If there's any advice that you would give us as we go forward over the next 10, 20, 30 years to help achieve these admirable goals that we all agree with, and we're just trying to find a way to achieve?
I'll put it this way. All these problems that I'm talking about, I blame myself as a part of the academic community, because my name starts with the title professor. And I used to be a professor teaching in classes. And that's how I departed from that, because I thought I was taught in a wrong way. I was seeking the path which will bring me out of it and make it see things differently. And that's my rest of the journey. But I still feel as an academic, I look at it as an academic way and remind my colleagues in the academia, saying that it's the academia which created the problem, because they design all these things. They define what a human being is. It's not a prime minister define what a human being is. Prime minister doesn't define a human being. They just say, the experts tell us that it's a human being is driven by self-interest. So we have to now go ahead and make sure everybody has a chance to pursue their self-interest and make more money. Making money is a more important thing. Securing their protection of making money is the job of the government, because that's what the theoreticians have told us. So going back, I said that schools, universities, they have created the problem because they created the machine, designed the machine, and do the corrections in the machine in their own way to make it more efficient, to do the same wealth concentration to become faster and better wealth concentration. That's their repair work. So I said, if you want to change anything, you have to go back to the university. So university has to finally feel that, yes, our previous generation of teachers, previous generation of theoreticians took a wrong turn and then created all these problems. Our job is to make sure now it comes to the right way. And that's what I said, if you continue with the old path, you continue to create more problems. Old roads always take you to the old destination. If you want to create, if you want to go to a new destination, you have to build new path. Old path will never take you to new destination. That's a very simple conclusion. So it's the job of the university first to define the new destination and then build the path, how to get there. And I defined in my own way to get a beginning. I said that will be the destination of 3 zeros. We want to create a world of 3 zeros. And then I started finding the path. I did the finding of path by creating social business, entrepreneurship, and redesign of the financial system, et cetera, et cetera. So these are the things that I added into it. It's possible, but one has to kind of look back and saying that doing the more of the old things will only get us into deeper problems. Our suicidal path will be shorter and will be finished before we know. So you don't have much time left anyway. If we don't make the best effort human being has to make, we'll never get out of it. And I conclude by saying to the frustrated academicians, I said, it's all said and done. I believe that nothing is impossible for human beings once we decide what we want to do. So it's a question of deciding, shall we try to get to the new civilization or try to stay with the old civilization and try to fix it? And in the process, we repeat the same old mistakes that we have been doing for over years. So that's the direction we have to make sure we go the right way.
Well, thank you. I think we should follow your advice. I think we should look for the new roads and find those solutions.
And
I hope-
I would mention one thing. I'm very happy that the universities are responding to it on their own, not because I'm saying it. They're responding to what I'm saying. Many universities are creating Yunus Social Business Center in the university so that they can examine what we have been saying and teach the students, let them ask questions, teachers do the research and so on. So there's a kind of a beginning, a seed of beginning in the university campuses. There are more than 100 universities now with the Yunus Social Business Center, where they give courses on social businesses and new civilization, the nature of the new civilization, possibility of the new civilization, etc. And then give degrees on social business, creating bachelor degree, master degree, and so on and so forth, and do all the research on social business and entrepreneurship. I claim that all human beings are born as entrepreneurs, whether this is right or this is wrong. They have to examine it, criticize it, and find their own decision, whether this is true or not. So I'm very happy that more and more universities sign up and prepare a center and enroll students, and faculty become involved in that. So I'll be very happy to see more and more. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Yunus, for your answers and your words of wisdom and your guidance and direction that I hope that we take on board and we move forward. And I also want to, so this will conclude. I don't know if there was any last thing you wanted to share with us?
Thank you. Thank you for showing interest. That's makes me very happy that the academic world is paying attention. If nobody asked me a question, nobody paid any attention to what I said, even if I said something terrible from their angle. But it's a fact that we can discuss, we can examine what this is all about. That's a very hopeful sign that we can continue this debate, continue this discussion.
Well, thank you. And I hope if I can get out to Bangladesh in the new year,
I hope so.
I would have an opportunity to chat further with you. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I thank the audience as well for zooming in to hear what was a really fantastic discussion there. Thank you, everyone. And I'll let everyone go then. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Picker. Thank you, Sharia. Bye-bye.
Thank you.